folks. How's it going? Welcome to the crab. I got to get my microphones here adjusted. How's it going, folks? We're going to kind of take a break today. And here's what I mean. You know, our minds absolutely have become poisoned since, well, before 2020, getting into President Trump running, and of course during his presidency. But our minds have been poisoned in a big way. And at the same time, our minds have been filled with crap. They have, well, constipated our cranium. And so I just felt, there's a lot of things I could cover, right? We could talk about the Epstein files. We could talk about some of President Trump's appointments and stuff. There's many things we could talk about. The border, right? Riots, ICE agents, assassination. But sometimes I think it's important to think about ourselves, to think about you, to do something good for ourselves, to do something good for our brains, to do something good in our lives so we can cope. Does that make sense? And so today we're going to do a little bit of coping together. It'll probably open your eyes to some things you actually scientifically didn't know. I try to give you something you could take away, right, from every program that I do. And I want to let you know, I, like anyone else in this mess, fighting this mess, just like you at home, watching, supporting this, we all suffer at times. We all get dejected, get our asses kicked, try to figure out what this is about. Maybe we're dealing with sick parents or a sick child or losing a loved one, right? Making ends meet, whatever it is. We're kind of all in this together. And the good thing about today's program, you're not going to need a puke bucket. I see you loved my program about screw worms. Well, screw that. We're going to do some more good stuff. And one of the things I realized is we're probably not taking care of our mental health the way we should be because we are getting bombarded with crap. Even though the President Trump's in the White House, we've now got so-called conservative broadcasters just bombarding us with BS, just like the mainstream media did. Part of us in this conservative world have become exactly what the mainstream media is. And sometimes we have to take a break, a liberal break, meaning good time, not meaning a liberal break from the lunacy that's going on. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to take a break from that. Today's program, this break, this mental health break for you, is brought to you by the fine folks at Gold Co. My request is simple. Go to jovanlovesgold.com and make sure you request your free gold and silver kit today. Now is the time to protect your money with gold and silver. You've got to know how to do it. You've got to protect your assets. Now, here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying go take all your savings and convert it to gold and silver. That is not at all what I am saying or recommending by any stretch. What I am saying is make sure you know how to buy gold and silver. Maybe you just buy a little percent of your savings, but so you understand the transactions, you understand why you should have it, etc. Do what the fine folks I partner with at Gold Co. Consider it. Now, I want to give you also another heads up. I am contemplating. I'll do two things. Number one, you know that we pumped out several bestsellers these last couple of years. Our Food Force Bible, that's Plan, P-L-A-N, and then Plant, P-L-A-N-T, and it'll feed you forever. I'm going to show you some of that today. We taught you how to do the same thing with fruit hacks, right? Instead of waiting years, how about just months to do it? And then how to not weed and not dig to plant your garden. We've been working very diligently because we try to be thorough. I know you've been waiting for it, but we promised you the mushroom version of this, right? Mushrooms are an amazing thing. We'll get to them in a minute. We're trying diligently to wrap it up. The mushroom part, because I decided to tackle the identification of the ones that look like the good mushroom you should eat, but are not. We have to really be very aware of what we cover, etc. So we're just being more meticulous and third-party checking it and everything else, but that will come out soon. So this is going to be interesting because did you know, I'm going to show you something, you might not have known it, that you can heal your brain with dirt, not drugs. If you are fed up with the pharmaceutical system, and I'm amazed at how many times people don't look at their meds and how they cross-correlate and collide. Most doctors don't do it. I'm also surprised at how many people don't look at their medications they're taking, because we are a medicated America, but don't realize that as you put this in your body, it accelerates the robbing of something else. Like it might accelerate osteoporosis in you, right? So we're going to look at some of those things because all of this is within your power. And so many people are fed up with big pharma and everything else. So first, let me cleanse your palate as we get started. One very good way to do that is to, well, look at animal videos. And this is just a palate cleansing exercise. That's all it is. Don't take it for anything else. I'm just going to get your brain ready to think. How many of you know it's incredible to have such a wonderful dog, does miracle things, does miracle feats? Maybe you have one of these dogs, or maybe you have a dog that's a little different.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
My name is Jeff.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
My name is Jeff.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
My name is Jeff.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
My name is Jeff.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
My name is Jeff.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
My name is Jeff.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
My name is Jeff.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
My name is Jeff.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
My name is Jeff.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
My name is Jeff.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
My name is Jeff.
So let's forget the Jeffs in our lives and let's get deep in the dirt. It's going to be a hell of a ride. You got 2 minutes to share this with your family and friends, and then I'm going to show you some really cool stuff. We'll get started right after this.
This crazy world is telling you your sons can be daughters and your daughters can be your sons. When will the madness stop? Never. So you have to decide, will you comply or defy? They tell us all, you will own nothing, eat bugs, and be happy. Is this why America's largest food processing plants and food supply plants keep burning down? Do you really think this is a coincidence? Of course not. The system is telling us right to our faces what they have planned for us. You have a choice. Comply or simply defy their plan for us all. Defy the system's plan and execute your own plan. Abundant, safe, secure natural food supply. Introducing the Food Forest Bible. This bestseller by Jovan Hutton Pulitzer is the single most complete, executable, easy-to-follow plan for sustainable self-management for self-sufficiency and food security. For the first time ever, a coffee table, heirloom quality full color book which unlocks the ancient secrets of creating a food forest. Imagine planting in a way which requires no digging, no pesticides, and creates massive ancient food abundance. No fooling. Food forests are the ancient secret to planning and planting once. And have your own Garden of Eden, which will feed your families for decade after decade. Buck the system. Buck the New World Order and order your very own copy of Jovan Hutton Pulitzer's Food Forest Bible. Learn how to create a sustainable, self-managing, natural food production for self-sufficiency and food security for your family. Side yard, small yard, backyard, backlot, or even lots of acres, the Food Forest Bible works for everyone. Order on Amazon, hardcover, softcover, or ebook. Don't comply. Expertly defy the system.
Warning. The following program has been rated Gilligaff and is intended for open-minded audiences. If the truth offends you, or if you are allergic to focused intensity, intellectual athleticism, or the occasional F-bomb or even irreverent humor, please switch off now. If your delicate sensibilities need to be worried about or addressed, might we recommend the Underwater Basket Weaving channel to you. Otherwise, sit back, enjoy the wisdom, insight, and wicked sense of humor.
Cut the crap. How many times a day do you want to say that to politicians, the elite, the loony liberals, the fake news media, and the gender-confused, emotional socialist snowflake crowd? Cut the crap is your secret weapon for fighting for our freedoms and our great republic. It all begins with a massive mental enema, freeing you from the toxic news and politically correct views, which constipate your consciousness with stinking thinking. Your host, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer. He's known for calling out politicians and telling them to cut the crap. You've seen him on virtually every television network and listened to him on Coast to Coast Radio. And now he's here to help you learn to fight for America. Culture, race, and American politics. They all have one thing in common. They all need to cut the crap. Now, here's your host, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer.
Hey, folks, welcome to the program. We're going to take a very much needed mental health break today. Hopefully, I teach you some things that you didn't know and get you started, right, on a way to heal your brain with dirt, not drugs. I will give you an example. In my life, I've broken just about everything, not my back, but just about everything. Hands, feet, arms, you name it. And so pain in my life has kind of been a constant thing for me. And then on the other side, when you think about, being in hostile situations, dangerous situations, shot at, blown up, caught in fires, caught in avalanches, right? Trying to save yourself from drowning, all kinds of stuff. My particular PTSD, only unique to my life circumstances, are through the roof. And so I had to learn a very long time ago how to self-medicate in a way that solved my particular needs without drugs. And full disclosure, I do take one particular pharmaceutical, which I hate. And I hate because it kind of makes you dependent upon the system. But pharmaceuticals do work. And I'll just give you an example of some of the things we're going to talk about today that, heal your brain with dirt, not drugs. I'll give you an example. Many people live with pain. The pain industry, right, is really a weird thing. And I'll give you an example. Our industry created an addiction to opiates. And so many people die from just simple pain medications. One of the hardest projects I've ever had to work on in my life was being inside the medical industry, reworking the opiate addiction issue. And I'll give you an example. Let's say you take painkillers. When you pop that painkiller, where's it going? In your mouth, down your throat, in your stomach. The pharma system relies on that drug to saturate your system. And eventually, maybe it gets to that lower back problem that's kicking your ass, or neck problem, or shoulder problem, or whatever. But you understand what happens. It relies, because it wants to do it synthetically, it relies on doing it in a manner that actually taints and poisons your system. So it floods your system and really fast. And then it gets to your other parts. I was saying, Shannon says she lost a sister to an accidental morphine overdose. It can happen. It happens all the time. And so with the opiate crisis in America, I was working with a group of research doctors to undo the opiate crisis. And where you flood your body with these drugs, and by the way, folks, share this right now. We're talking about heal your brain with dirt, not drugs. And they wreck your organs. We found out through research, trial and error, that we could take the opiate and we literally could pulverize it down to about the scale of diatomaceous earth, that really, 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 really fine baby powder kind of thing. And then I could take it and put it in a certain combination of inert things. And I'll give you one example. There's something called a micuquad. Micuquad is kind of what they kill warts with. It's not responsible for killing the wart that you might have on your finger. It's just what makes it like a transdermal laser, meaning it gets right through each dermal layer fast. So imagine you mix these things, and we could take opiates, tolerize it in a cream, that's what it's called, tolerization, into a cream. And then you take that cream, let's say you have a back problem, had back surgeries, you put that cream where the pain is, and it would laser go right through your skin to exactly where the pain was. Boom, instant relief. Now, what's unique about this is the level of opiates required, right, is so minimal that even if I gave you this little jar of cream, you could eat the jar of cream in this compound and it wouldn't kill you or overdose you. But we could absolutely stop the pain. Huge fight in the medical industry. Why? Because what they want you to consume a couple of pills a day, that one pill-like dose could last you 2 weeks. They didn't want that because it's not how the system works. The system is to consume. Now, for me, one of the hacks I use when I say heal your brain with dirt, not drugs, right? And this is a very good one. Pay attention if you have mental pain, right? Because there's pain to the brain too. There's pains in the ass and pains of the brain. There's all kinds of pain. Now, for me and my particular type of broken body and the intensity at which all throughout my career and life, right, I had to find out how to deal with this. Now, the system doesn't want you to deal with it naturally for two reasons. That's why they call it hocus pocus and crap and all this other stuff. They want the prescription. Their job is to make it to where you can't get the prescription. By the way, one of my, just for full honesty, one of my go-to mood enhancer painkillers was sex addiction. But you can't do that all the time, can you? So I had to find other ways to medicate. And so the way I medicate myself, now this is for body pain and for mind pain. When your mind's just totally crap, you are just screwed up, right? Now, there's two ways of being screwed up in your head. You're either really manic. What do? You can't focus. Or you're the other way down. You're just down in the fucking dumps, right? Well, one of the things I showed you, right? And one of the things why I say dirt can do this for you, you can heal your brain with dirt, not drugs. You can look this up on your own. But I'm just going to give you a quick example so you kind of understand where I'm headed, right? If you are willing to eat very hot peppers, now it's amazing. People say, I can't do hot peppers, but they'll pop pills. I want you to listen to me just for a second as you look at these peppers, right? If you eat very hot peppers that contain high levels of capsaicin, right? That's what makes a pepper hot. What happens is when you eat that hot pepper, it floods your brain. A cascade of neurochemical effects happen that actually reduce pain and boost your mood. It's what's called TRPV1. That's the active compound in hot peppers, TRPV1. Years ago, I worked on a project and I took TRPV1 and I put it in a roll-on. A roll-on. Kind of like, we have the CBD roll-on. For people with arthritis in their hands, knees, elbows, ankles. The FDA came down like a bomb on it, working to shut it down. Why? Because it was a simple roll-on of this naturally formed product that will fight pain, and that's the TRPV1. That stands for transient receptor potential villoids, right? It goes right to your nerves. And so what happened is these nerves detect the heat. They think you've had physical pain, so your brain thinks you're burning. So imagine putting it in your mouth, a pepper. You do that. It's kind of akin to the pee-pee dance. You know what the pee-pee dance is, right? The only difference between the pee-pee dance and the oh shit, that's a hot pepper dance is you add this to the dance movement, right? So what happens is your mind knows no different. Your mind knows no different. So it thinks it's on fire. True thing. And so what it does is it creates a fake emergency in your body. You're tricking it. And your body naturally immediately kicks in this neurochemical chain reaction, which basically releases endorphins. Now, endorphins are what your brain releases to block pain. And it has, by the way, just so you know, endorphins are your body's natural opioids. It floods you. And it has two things. It'll stop the pain, but then it actually creates a mild euphoria. You feel calm or you feel even high. They call it a pepper high, or this is why people have been called chili heads. Have you ever heard that term before? A chili head? That's the term that they're referring to in what peppers will do for your body, right? And so what happens is it immediately directs your body to release whatever you need, dopamine or serotonin. It's the same neurotransmitters that are targeted by antidepressants. Period. Okay? So it's that's what I mean by get in the dirt, heal your brain with dirt, not drugs. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to just show you some interesting things. It is not hot sauce. You cannot do it with hot sauce. Well, I take that back. If you could get like Carolina Reapers or habaneros, not the stuff in the grocery store, you special order it. No, you can't get this by eating a Mexican. But get really, really hot peppers or pure sauces. Do a little sauce. And what happens is, bang, but you got to get the ones that burn your particular tolerance. It's not some people can do it with jalapenos, but you'll migrate to heavier ones, right? Okay, so your body can do this. The system knows it. And when I say the system know it. Scott's bonnet, because somebody asked in chat, Scott's bonnet's not hot enough. Scott's bonnet is really it looks like a habanero, but it's not. But you can do this to your body. You can literally heal your brain with dirt, not drugs. And I'm going to show you some of the stuff that's healing. But by the way, we're working very hard to finish our mushroom book. This is what's called log totems. It's just one way to grow mushrooms. You take all those log scraps and you see that little sandwich in between the totems. You put your spore in there and these things will produce mushrooms. Just like whether if you lay them down, you got to raise them off the ground, right? Or whether you stack them. You can grow just an ungodly amount of mushrooms that in the store you're paying ridiculous amounts for. And you can do it. It's part of your food storage, but you can do it. There's many ways to do it. So we're working very, 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 very hard on getting that book finished. I'm going to show you all the different ways you can grow them. I personally am on the very last stages. When you think of these as logs, I'm on the very last stages, and I'm getting this ready for the book, where I take 3-foot logs and I kind of cross stack them like a fence going down through the forest, right? And they'll grow mushrooms. And by the way, somebody mentioned I can't eat peppers because I get explosive diarrhea. Not true. Let me tell you what happens. When you eat peppers and they hit your gut, all of the gunk that is stuck in the walls of your intestinal system that keeps you from being healthy gets stripped out. That's the explosive diarrhea. It's all the worst stuff coming out. That's why many times you eat a lot of pepper, and we'll be friends here. You go to the can, and if you were to look back in the can, it's almost jet black. That is all gunk inside your system that those peppers will transport right out. I know it's too much information, but hey, people in Hawaii have weird fetishes, and that's why we decided to answer. Okay. Anyway, we're going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about the kind of before and after of getting your hands dirty, which you need to know, because it can change your life, right? It can change your life. And by the way, the peppers don't kill the good parasites. It's just like you can feed your chickens red pepper flake. The chickens don't taste hot, but the red pepper flake only on the bad parasites will make your chickens get rid of them. So we're going to talk about dirt and food supply and everything else, right? And we're going to kind of go through this, but I'm excited about our mushroom book coming out. Let me just give you a flavor. This is like hundreds and hundreds of dollars of mushrooms you're about to see.
太漂亮了，这个。
Yeah, it's good food. It can make you hungry. I want to let you know, and when she's pulling off each little bunch, if you were buying in the store, that probably each little bunch would be about $40-50, right? $40-50 on it. By the way, somebody's saying they're trying to heal an ulcer right now. Let me tell you something the system doesn't tell you about ulcers, gas reflux, etc. Another little one. And it'll sound completely opposite of what you should do. You know, people that have gas reflux, where you kind of burp and it burns your throat and whatever, and ulcers, that's your body rebelling. But you know what it's rebelling against? Your receptors in your body that squirt we'll just call it hydrochloric acid, they get stuck open. They do. They get stuck open. And what happens is your body gets in a state that tells itself, I need more acid, I need more acid, I need more acid, I need more acid. Well, the way the system treats it is they want you to eat chalk, antacid, to negate the acid, but it doesn't basically address why your body is overproducing acid. And just like imagine a car misfiring, basically what's happening is your body's misfiring. You know, the quickest way to stop acid reflux and over acid production is a little teaspoon of vinegar, which is pure acid. Do you know why that happens? It's because when you take that little shot of vinegar in your body and it hits there, your body goes, oh, finally, I've made enough acid, and it shuts off the receptors. But the system won't tell you that. Anyway, going back to these mushrooms, we're going to teach you how to grow every one of those. And what you need to know about the mushrooms when we get that right is, oh, by the way, some people say got acid reflux, drink OJ. Don't drink canned orange juice. That's different. Fresh orange juice can negate it. Anyway, why we're going to go to the extent to teach you on mushrooms is because mushrooms wholesale value is 12 or 13 bucks a pound, but it's a food supply you can grow and you harvest them every 7 days. And if you do it right, some of these mushroom logs, which we're going to teach you, and you spore them right, once you do it, they will produce for years and years and years and years. Denise says she has to jump in the shower, right? Sorry that it was somebody who killed in a car wreck. But if you want to do a live feed, let me know. But don't jump in the shower. You'll end up like Kitty who broke her thigh. Please be, right? Careful. But that's why we're going to teach you on mushrooms. Let me let you watch the rest of this.
太漂亮了，这个。
Doesn't that look great? So we're going to help you with that because for food security, it's one of the best things you can do because they'll produce in 7 days. Okay, let's get with this and let's get through some of the videos that I'm going to share with you. First, I'm going to give you a peek. You know, we were the first ones to put out the true manual of Food Forest Bible, how to create a food forest, sustainable, self-managing natural food production for self-sufficiency. By the way, make sure it's got my signature on it because all kinds of people have copied it. But this is where you plan it once, do it right, and it can feed you for a long time. Let me show you some other people's food gardens. Here's one in a simple backyard with them getting started.
Quick view of the food forest from the backside. Tangerine, full of blossoms. Some mangoes down there, bananas, coconuts, sugarcane, more sugarcane.
So they're just getting started. You can do it in many different ways. A lot of people even do this in backyards, in the urban areas.
When it comes to creating a food forest, one must take in consideration the amount of space that you have to work with. Now, I live in the suburbs, so putting together a food forest requires, well, a little bit more creative skill set. Let me explain to you why. We all know that a typical food forest requires little work. There's no pulling of weeds, no cutting of grass. You just let things just be. Well, if I did that here in the suburbs, I'm probably going to get a visit from your local municipalities, probably fining me for having my backyard in array. In other words, they will look at it and say, well, there's weeds too tall and there's this and there's that, and find any excuse, because in the suburbs, we must have a tidy front and backyard. But that doesn't mean.
See, many people have to, and you're right, that you've got to get creative in how you do some of this stuff. Okay. So today's program, I'm going to kind of ease your mind for a bit. I'm going to get you in a relaxed mood, and then I'm going to show you exactly what I want to talk about. Okay. Etc. And many of you are fighting flies, and many of you are like, I'm currently fighting the fucking Chinese beetle that just eat your fruit trees, your small fruit trees alive. We'll talk about that. But first, let me do a little brain therapy. Let's get started with a little brain therapy. Here you go. Okay, isn't that nice? One more time. When I'm on family land, I can do that in many different places of our family land. Comes right out of the mountains and runs down into the pond. Sit in the mountain creek. It's great. There's something about getting out in nature. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you why you need to consider, and we're going to cover it. I'm going to give you the facts, why you need to consider, right, getting out and getting dirty.
Here's how getting your hands dirty can actually make you smarter. A massive 80-year Scottish study found that older adults who garden scored higher on memory and thinking tests, even when you factor in their education, income, and exercise. Why? Because gardening activates multiple brain regions, including the hippocampus for memory, the prefrontal cortex for planning and decision making, and the sensory cortex for touch and smell. And when your hands touch soil, you're exposed to something called soil-based organisms, or SBOs. These are beneficial bacteria and dirt that interact with your body in ways similar to probiotics. They boost mood, reduce inflammation, and even improve your brain chemistry, which is why young kids who constantly play in the dirt are so happy. And even growing basil on your windowsill can give you these benefits. So next time you want better focus, clearer thinking, or a calmer mood, don't pop a pill, just go plant something in the garden. If you found this helpful, make sure to follow and share it with someone who needs to know.
There's so many different things you can do out there but it just takes a little bit of research doing. Now, for me, one of the things I try to do is I try to give you good, simple hacks, gardening wise, to get you started. In fact, in a moment, we're going to talk about your grocery bag. The fruits and vegetables you buy, I can show you how to regrow those, and you don't have to keep on buying them. But here is probably my number one gardening hack.
When you're burying a dead body in the garden, remember, cover it in endangered native plants so that it's illegal to dig them up. Follow for more gardening tips.
Yes, that's probably the number one gardening tip I've ever been given.
When you're burying a dead body in the garden, remember, cover it in endangered native plants so that it's illegal to dig them up. Follow for more gardening tips.
Okay, I see y'all in, of course, that's not true. That's not true. You got to put like Palestine flags on it, and they can't disrupt it as ancient ground. Anyway, hey, some of you are talking about fire ants. Let me give you this real quick. Fire ants can be a big problem, but they are so easy to get rid of. It's a no-brainer. So number one, you do not do this on a day where the soil is damp or it has rained or anything like that. Now, pay attention, write this down. It's very simple. You can get rid of every one of those freaking fire ants. Go to the store and get you. And I'm going to get you a picture because so many people don't follow this. They forget it. Hang on. Okay, here's a good picture. Let me get it on my screen. Hang on. Open image here. Okay. I'm going to give you the fastest instantaneous way for every one of you, if you'll just listen, to get rid of fire ants, and it will get rid of them immediately. And it's not a propane torch. It's not at all. Right? That just isn't what it is. And let me tell you why. When you, some people say pour gasoline on it, light it on fire. Some people say propane torch. You're not killing the ants. You're only pissing off the ants. Okay? Here's how to do it. And here's how you use science and nature against fire ants. Trust me, it's the most amazing miracle to get rid of fire ants and any bad ants there is. Okay? Not ammonia-soaked rags, not waiting for 4th of July and you put firecrackers down in the hole. None of that. Instant grits. Now, the key word here, and it will not get rid of your plants. The key word here is instant grits. I didn't say grits. I said instant grits. Instant grits. If you have to take a screenshot, take a screenshot. They don't build their mounds at all anywhere where the ground's too soggy. So you can have springs or whatever, it's not going to matter. Go to the store, these are about $2, and get you a box of instant grits. Now, inside are 10 packages. 10 packages. But they absolutely must be the instant grits kind, not regular grits. Regular grits you have to cook. You want the ones that they already cooked, and then all they did was dehydrate them. Okay? So, now you've got your instant grits. It's a dry day. It's not raining. Go to the ant mound. Take a stick or your foot, kick it, and piss them the frick off. Okay? Piss them off. And a lot of them will come to the top. Okay? Now, if you try regular grits, it ain't going to work. That's why, see, read the box. Instant grits, instant grits, instant grits, instant grits, instant grits. And it has to be not raining. Now, this is where you use science and it can be a jagged stick. This is where you use science and the insect world against itself. See, when you spread the instant grits on the pissed off mound or any mound, the animals see it, the ants see it as food. Okay? But they don't eat it. They don't eat it until the queen approves it. Now, let me tell you this again. The ants will pick it up, and they don't eat it until it goes all the way down to the secret chamber of the queen. When the queen takes a bite, she sends out the signal, okay, it's great. And they all eat it. Within seconds, they 100% dehydrate. Why? Because, see, it has to be instant grits, because when they bite it and it's so devoid of moisture, it pulls the moisture out of their own body, draws it right to their stomach where it goes in. It basically sucks the lifeblood out of them. And they take it all the way down to the queen. That's the ant psychology, right? That's it. That's the psychology. And they take it all the way down. This works. It's phenomenal. And I'm telling you, that incredible ant pile is freaking gone in a day. It's just dead. That's why gas and fuel and stuff like that doesn't work. You're only burning the top. They got millions of eggs possibly underneath. It carries it down to the queen, and you're done with it. That's what is, basically a geohack, biohack, whatever the case may be. That's it. And it's freaking over. And you get rid of them. And you didn't poison your plants, and you didn't poison your animals. There are all kinds of things like that you can do. Okay? And you should kind of get into the groove of getting it outside and getting your hands dirty.
It's just me and my plants. Sometimes I water them. Sometimes I walk around the yard and show my daughter them. It's just me and my plants. I'm in the gardening. They call me soft, but all these bars I still go hard in them. It's just me and my plants.
It's probably the only rap song I like.
It's just me and my plants. Sometimes I water them. Sometimes I walk around the yard and show my daughter them. It's just me and my plants. I'm in the gardening. They call me soft, but all these bars I still go hard in them. It's just me and my plants.
By the way, for ticks and fleas, right? Tell you one quick thing. For ticks, one of the best ways to get rid of ticks is diatomaceous earth. You sprinkle it lightly. But also, the number one thing of ticks, instant oats will not work. That's why I told you instant grits. Instant grits. It's $2 at the store. That's it. Instant grits. It's the only one that does it. Instant grits. Anyway. Why I'm covering this, okay, is because you can heal yourself by getting in the dirt. And I want to remind you, this is about healing your brain with dirt, not drugs. It's a very, very, very important issue, okay? There's so many benefits from what it is besides doing it. But diatomaceous earth, by the way, is what's going to help you get rid of both ticks and fleas. If you want to augment it, get you a pair of guineas. Guineas, the African yardbirds. That's their primary diet. And I kid you not, on one home plot, what we call the centroid, it's about 250,000 acres, but the centroid's 50. That's where you keep your tame livestock and stuff like that. What I would do is we started buying little guineas, I forget what they're called, keats. Yeah, keats. And we'd raise them, and you put them in a cage under a tree, and you feed them there for a few weeks. Then what you do, it's 1 packet per mound of the instant grits. Then what you do is when they're feathered and ready to go, you let those guineas out. They will forever roost in that tree because that's their home. And guineas will completely wipe your land devoid of ticks. We literally could walk to neighbors' land and be pummeled, right? Pummeled with like grasshoppers and stuff during dry times. There wouldn't be one on our lands, not a one. Why? Why? Because the guineas wipe them out. Another thing, just so you know, for fleas, if you raise goats, because goat skin, sheep skin naturally secrete what you know as lanolin, having the goats out there will coat your fields and stuff as a byproduct with lanolin, and that lanolin will get rid of the fleas. But diatomaceous earth is you don't have to use chemicals to do it. Diatomaceous earth are really good. So let's look at this concept of a food forest. It's actually all over the place.
So I live in a literal food forest, okay? I have 87 acres.
Yes, and just for those that want to know, you can eat your guineas. It's just chicken, but it's black, dark meat, literally. It's all dark meat, even the breast. Guineas. It's really good. They're very tasty, etc. But guinea hens will do that. They are bug-eating machines. You're right, bug-eating machines. And they will totally take care of it. If it's mosquitoes you're dealing with, put up martin houses. And let me tell you why, people just miss this stuff. I'll give you an example. You ever seen a dirt dauber, which looks like somebody did a finger-shaped mud loogie on your wall, and it's got a little hole in the bottom, right? It's this little stupid-ass turd mound stuck to the wall. You see them in old barns or car engines or whatever the case. A dirt dauber's nest. Let me see if I can find one for you, for those of you who have never seen one. Nature's amazing if you they're called mud daubers. Nature's amazing if you just understand that we've lost so much knowledge, right? So number one, put up a martin's nest. Martins will eat anywhere from 14,000 to 25, 26,000 mosquitoes per bird every single night. Some people don't hate them or don't like them. Why? Because they do those little mud turd nests. You'll see a nest. It'll be kind of triangular, kind of like a merkin patch. And it's just done. And you'll see the little bird up there. And people hate that. I hate that. No, brush them down. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because if you let the birds be born there, okay, you let the birds be born there, what will happen is those birds every single year will come back to your land, and they will have their children. And people see these things and they tear them down because, I got poopy on my porch and I don't want bird poop on my porch. Let me show you, in case you haven't seen it before. I want to, and I'm glad you're asking questions, but I'm going to continue with the content, but I want to show you a few of these things you need to know. Okay. So bear with me. I'm loading some photos for you because this is all spontaneous, but this is the country boy in me that learned things that there are better ways than to deal with some of this stuff than what we've been told. And it's because the system wants to sell you the chemical. And that's all there is to it. The system wants to sell you the chemical. Now, Aaron Richards wants to know about barn swallows. Okay, well, that really depends upon the mood and whether, Miss Barnes is like going to dinner first or what kind of mood she in. Barn swallows, same thing. Barn swallows, yeah, and martins. I'm sorry. Okay, hang on. These are things that we call biohacks, and we are working on a book. It's way out there. I hate to tell you these things in advance, but we are working on a book on some of these biohacks. Anyway, let me show you what a barn swallows look like. It kind of looks like this. No, I'm kidding. I couldn't help it. Let's see. Barn swallows. Martins. Okay. You see these things up under your eaves and barns and everything else like that, right? And people will tear them down because you're going to see a little bird poop on your porch. Don't. Each one of those birds will eat 14 to some odd 30,000, right, of mosquitoes every single day, but also have bat houses. The small bats eat twice that. And you just got to let them exist. Okay, so these are barn swallows. You see them darting around all the time, or martins, whatever you want to call them. They're literally eating mosquitoes. That's their diet. But let me show you another one that, again, the system doesn't want to tell you about. Maybe you have spider problems or whatever the case may be. Many people have issues with like brown recluse spiders. They can be really dangerous, right? Really dangerous. Well, have you ever seen these on your wall? your barn, your tractor, your old engine, or whatever. This is what I kind of told you. It looks like a little Adobe mud turd or whatever the case may be, right? And you see them hanging on your walls. Tell the truth. How many of you have tore down mud dauber nest? Come on, you've seen it. You knocked it off. You got pissed. Oh, I hate those things. Well, let me tell you why you should leave them until they naturally deciduate versus breaking them open. And your kids will learn from you. And if you're a city kid and you haven't learned this, right, it might get you. So here you go. Mud dauber, dirt dauber. Same thing, dirt dauber, mud daubers, whatever you call them. You've seen these things, right? Kids used to smash them with a rock. You know why you don't do that? Because the wasp that is associated with that, it's a particular wasp, okay? That wasp, which people look at and go, oh no, I got wasp, right? Now, I tell you this in my book, Food Forest, we talk about things like this. I tell you, God created some of these things for a purpose. It's up to us to kind of try to understand what that purpose is. And if we don't know that purpose that God made them for, we kind of can mock ourselves. So this little nest right here, Archie's telling us that Miss Barnes does in fact. Okay, thank you, Archie. Archie must live next door. Okay, so you see these things. It's created by this wasp. Now, you think that's a wasp that stings you. It is not. It is not. Now, the reason you don't break these open is because what they eat are the poisonous spiders. They're loaded with brown recluses, and they store them alive. Now, think of how many times you've torn these things down. You don't like them. You don't whatever. It's this animal and what they pack in those things like a vampire are the killer spiders, the brown recluses that could literally, if they bite you, they'll necrotize you. They will have tons of them stuffed in there. Tons. Live spiders. And if you've got these up over you and you're knocking them down, you have a very strong chance you are going to get inundated with very poisonous brown recluse, which one could do a significant amount of damage. They pack dozens of them in every single daub. That's part of why I'm covering this, is because there's so many things you can do. Just like healing yourself, you can heal your brain with dirt, not drugs. Let me remind you just a little of the facts behind this.
Here's how getting your hands dirty can actually make you smarter. A massive 80-year Scottish study found that older adults who garden scored higher on memory and thinking tests, even when you factor in their education, income, and exercise. Why? Because gardening activates multiple brain regions, including the hippocampus for memory, the prefrontal cortex for planning and decision making, and the sensory cortex for touch and smell. And when your hands touch soil, you're exposed to something called soil-based organisms, or SBOs. These are beneficial bacteria in dirt that interact with your body in ways similar to probiotics. They boost mood, reduce inflammation, and even improve your brain chemistry, which is why young kids who constantly play in the dirt are so happy. And even growing basil on your windowsill can give you these benefits. So next time you want better focus, clearer thinking, or a calmer mood, don't pop a pill, just go plant something in the garden. If you found this helpful, make sure to follow and share it with someone who needs to know.
Yeah. And yes, I see people talking in Rumble about dirt daubers. That's not their larvae. And dirt daubers on the ground is not dirt daubers on the ground. Let me show you one other hack real quick. And what I'm going to do is I got 4 more videos. So I'm just going to show you some hacks and some people doing great things with food forest, because all I'm trying to do is give you a little bit of education about, you might think it's kind of a pain in the ass, but the system doesn't want you doing these things. But you got to remember, God made it for a reason, right? Made it for a reason. Let me show you a few things. I'll give you a few hacks first. Here's one of the hacks you should remember. And you can do this if you live in an apartment, you live on the 3rd floor, it doesn't matter. This is so easy to do. It's all knowledge-based, folks.
Did you know that you can grow your own romaine lettuce at home? It's super easy. Once you're done with the head of lettuce, cut it down, place it in a pot, and we're going to get the soil so that it's well saturated. And we have to keep it pretty well watered so that it will root in. It takes about 2 weeks, but you can see the new growth, and we have brand new romaine lettuce growing up from this. Now, this is not a continual cycle. We'll get about 3 or 4 more heads of lettuce from this, but you don't have to keep on buying these all the time. So give it a try at home.
It's knowledge, folks. Just like when you see the blues states trying to outlaw gardens. Yeah. They don't want you to be able to feed yourself. Why would you not take that simple bag of romaine, keep those 3 butts, put them in a stupid little pot, and you're going to get 9 more times what you just paid for. If you paid $5.99 for that one bag of 3, right? You're going to get at least 3 more times back. You just paid yourself almost what is that? Almost $20. It's simple.
Did you know that you can grow your own romaine lettuce at home? It's super easy. Once you're done with the head of lettuce, cut it down, place it in a pot, and we're going to get the soil so that it's well saturated. And we have to keep it pretty well watered so that it will root in. It takes about 2 weeks, but you can see the new growth, and we have brand new romaine lettuce growing up from this. Now, this is not a continual cycle. We'll get about 3 or 4 more heads of lettuce from this, but you don't have to keep on buying these all the time. So give it a try.
You can do stuff like this. It's just inherently we're not in touch with it. We're lazy or whatever, right? It's self-roots. Let me show you another hack. What if you could take $1 and turn it into hundreds of dollars? You'd want to know how to do it, right? Watch this hack.
How I grow 70 pounds of sweet potatoes for every $1 sweet potato from the grocery store. Make sure it's an organic sweet potato. Place toothpicks around the center of the potato, just barely into the potato. Find the end that was connected to the plant. The round end goes up, the tapered end that has a stem goes down into the jar. The toothpicks hold it out of the water. Fill the jar full of non-chlorinated water and set on your windowsill and watch the tiny starts form. Once the starts are well established, you carefully twist them off, place them in rooting compound and into another jar of water. The potato will grow more starts. I've had up to 30 starts from one potato before. Place those starts in the ground after the first frost. Make sure that they're well mulched and well watered all summer long. And come fall, tear the plants away and dig up your potato gold. We get about 70 pounds of sweet potatoes from every potato that we start.
Sometimes we think about returns like in a stock market. You dream you wish you had more money. You dream groceries weren't as expensive. There is always a second right answer. There is always a second right answer, right? What are sweet potatoes in the store right now, right? Let's see. Right now, sweet potatoes in the store for a pound are, well, look at Walmart here. A 3-pound bag of potatoes, sweet potatoes at Walmart right now, they're $1.15 a pound. So a 3-pound bag is $3.44. Okay, hang on. In Walmart terms, that one potato with the sprouts from it, so that one potato, we'll just call it $1, right? That one potato, sweet potato, generated another $90. It's knowledge, folks, but it's knowledge combined with your will. Nothing keeps you from doing this.
How I grow 70 pounds of sweet potatoes for every $1 sweet potato from the grocery store. Make sure it's an organic sweet potato. Place toothpicks around the center of the potato, just barely into the potato. Find the end that was connected to the plant. The round end goes up, the tapered end that has a stem goes down into the jar. The toothpicks hold it out of the water. Fill the jar full of non-chlorinated water and set on your windowsill and watch the tiny starts form. Once the starts are well established, you carefully twist them off, place them in rooting compound and into another jar of water. The potato will grow more starts. I've had up to 30 starts from one potato before. Place those starts in the ground after the first frost. Make sure that they're well mulched and well watered all summer long. And come fall, tear the plants away and dig up your potato gold. We get about 70 pounds of sweet potatoes from every potato that we start.
The system profits, just like me telling you earlier about capsaicin and everything else. The system profits from our short attention span, our apathy, and our laziness. If you like sweet potato, you can do this in an apartment. One sweet potato on your counter, get the sprigs, and then you put the sprigs in a container and you got it. But we don't do this. And why don't we do it? Because we've sold out our lives for convenience and we don't want to bother. No, you didn't sell out your life. You've been trained to be apathetic, to not to bother, right? To do it. But it doesn't take a lot of area. I showed you a backyard. Maybe you have a little bit backyard, but getting out there heals you. Nothing stops us. Nothing stops us, folks. Not at all. And the benefits are instantly seeable. You know, in this book, I tell you two things, right? You don't have to dig and you don't have to weed, but I also tell you how you can grow and regrow. I want to show you the difference 10 inches makes. We're going to go from one side done the right way, no dig, food gardening, and we're going to go 10 inches over to where it's not done. I probably should have thought that out better. But most of you know what I'm talking about. Jenny knows what I'm talking about, what a difference 10 inch makes.
Look at the soil. It's completely dry. You know, with a bit of wind, it flies away, and that's what we.
How many of you truthfully, your soil looks like this? How many times have you seen farmland where the soil looks like that? We are trained to be slaves to the system. And even like the sweet potato, you know, you're trying to get away from Walmart. You can go in and use Walmart. They got organic sweet potatoes and you can use them. Use the system against itself and then set yourself free. You can do this kind of stuff your own. You can do it. It's just we forgot it over time. Right? And so you're gonna spend another 99 cents on a jug of water that's going to be non-chlorinated water, spring water. Okay, great. By the way, thank you so much for that generous tip. And by the way, yes, dogs can eat sweet potatoes and they love it. Right? But How many of you, answer in chat, how many of you have soil or have seen soil that looks like this?
Look at the soil. It's completely dry. With a bit of wind, it flies away, and that's what we call erosion. The same with...
Have any of you seen soil like that? Have any of you seen soil like that? You've at least seen it. Now, unfortunately, that is what happens when we throw all these chemicals. By the way, I'm gonna give you the health benefits of getting your hand in the dirt. I'm gonna read all these off to you in a moment. Okay? Because you can heal your brain with dirt, not drugs. Period. But let me show you the difference truly 10 inches makes.
Look at the soil. It's completely dry. With a bit of wind, it flies away, and that's what we call erosion. The same would happen when it rains. It just floods away. But now look at this. 1 meter next to it. This is where we planted our food forest. And now we have a ton of ground cover here. And these plants...
This is the lowest level in a food forest. Remember, we teach you how to do it in zones. That's why it's a manual. That's, some people bet, it's too much. You know how much it costs to print a full color hardbound book? The reason it's done this way is so you can take it out and learn. There's teaching you what bugs do what, right? You've seen those. We teach you so you can do it. Even, we'll repeat the issues in several chapters for plants so you don't have to index it. But this is so you can take it out to the garden. But some people, I want to pay for a book. A book's expensive. It is an expensive book because it's in color. You got to be able to see it to understand it. And it's hardbound. But it's a one-time investment that you'll pass these gardens to your kids. But let me show you something here. This is the lowest level of the food garden, which is called your ground cover. Let me show you what it does.
Look at the soil. It's completely dry. With a bit of wind, it flies away, and that's what we call erosion. The same would happen when it rains. It just floods away. But now look at this. 1 meter next to it. This is where we planted our food forest. And now we have a ton of ground cover here. And these plants, they do magical things. You can see here on the leaves, we still have water, and this is just from the night. This is just what happens. It's not even rain. It's nice and cold. You can't even see the soil. That's the whole idea. All of this is protected. It's well protected from the elements. It keeps a good moisture level. You can see over there, it's one of our avocado trees. It's doing very well. And these plants, they give nutrients to the soil. So they just grow for a few months, and then their bodies, they compost, they go down, and they will become the soil. And everything is protected and will grow up to a nice, beautiful forest.
This is the best example of using your brain, because you can take the worst soil. It can even be grainy sand desert. You can change it. But as he's telling you, and I told you, you create these own microclimates. This is a microclimate, folks. That's just the dew from the night, but it catches it. Versus the ground just a foot away.
Look at the soil. It's completely dry. With a bit of wind, it flies away, and that's what we call erosion. The same would happen when it rains. It just floods away. But now look at this. 1 meter next to it. This is where we planted our food forest. And now we have a ton of ground cover here. And these plants, they do magical things. You can see here on the leaves, we still have water, and this is just from the night. This is just what happens. It's not even rain. It's nice and cold. You can't even see the soil. That's the whole idea. All of this is protected. It's well protected from the elements. It keeps a good moisture level. You can see over there, it's one of our avocado trees. It's doing very well. And these plants, they give nutrients to the soil. So they just grow for a few months, and then their bodies, they compost, they go down, and they will become the soil. And everything is protected and will grow up to a nice, beautiful forest.
The only difference, they perpetuate this myth that ancient Mayan civilizations died because they didn't have enough food. they did that because when they look back at a civilization, they say disappeared. It didn't. But when they look back at it, they don't see big farming areas. So how did they support tens of thousands of people? It's because they did something different. In the foot space of a yard, they created basically magic black gold dirt, and it was so abundant it fed everybody. And so sometimes we look at these lenses wrong. And that's just one of the best examples of why it doesn't matter where you are, you should think about this, but you can control your own destiny. We are hitched to the bitch tit of the system. Some people get fed up with it and they walk away, and find out, I can do it. Here's a good example.
4 years ago, I took a leap of faith. I packed up my bags and moved out of the city to embark on a journey of self-discovery. With no experience, I began growing my own food, driven by a mission to take back control and know exactly where my food came from. This has transformed my life in so many ways I could never have imagined. Connecting with the rhythm of nature has changed my whole outlook on life, but also revolutionized my passion for cooking. As a former chef, I've unlocked a new level of creativity and flavor by working with my homegrown produce. This journey has inspired me to create something special.
There's something empowering about doing it on your own. Maybe you have a little patch, maybe you got some family land, but when you finally understand that you can surround yourself with abundant food, it becomes incredibly clear to you that you can wean yourself off the system.
So I live in a literal food forest, okay? I have 87 acres of literal fruits, nuts, everything growing around.
I want to remind you, you don't need 87 acres. You don't even need an acre. You can be a little quarter acre. You can be on your little backyard patio. You can do this. There's all kinds of varying levels, but this little cutie has 87 acres.
So I live in a literal food forest, okay? I have 87 acres of literal fruits, nuts, everything growing around me. All of this right here are grapes. Some ripe ones. One of my plum trees. This is about to be my snack. Look at all of these chanterelle mushrooms. These are all pear trees that need to be pruned, but hey, we got pears. You can see the chestnuts. They're not ripe yet. A persimmon. Right up here is a persimmon tree. All right, over here is more pears, more apples. Look at these apples. Found some blackberries. Look at all these delicious wild blueberries. Look at these peaches. They are ready to harvest. So the farther I go back, I have more fruit growing. I have peaches, persimmons. I have wild berries. I have blueberries. I have walnuts and chestnuts. Literal food forest, y'all.
That's what a food forest is. I'm gonna show you a little more detailed one. But I'm going to show you how much it makes a difference when we reconnect where we came from. I'm going to show you this. I'll just let you watch it. I want to go back to turn of the 19th century, to the teens. I want you to look at us. And this was before we had institutionalized foods and institutionalized grocery systems. That's everybody as a whole. Just a shot down the street. Did you see anybody that was overweight in that video? This was a time when we grew Victory Gardens, World War I, World War II, etc. Is there any? And we cared about how we looked in public and took care of ourselves. That was us. And we changed. We changed because we got hooked on the system. You can even tell they move better. They don't shuffle. They're focused. That's the difference of eating. So let me show you, right? Let me show you a true food forest in action. I've told you about this before, but I want to show you a little bit because once you do these things, this is something you pass on to your kids.
Hi, Jeff here, and I'm in Morocco, and I'm in a very special place because in 1975, I was on a surf trip and the surf went flat on the coast here. And we came inland looking for a place called Paradise Valley where you could swim in amongst date palms. And on the way, we passed this scene behind me. And it caught my attention because there was date palms with fruit trees underneath. I could see oranges on trees and pomegranates and figs and grapevines and it was a whole assembly, like a paradise. To me, it looked like the paradise we were looking for. Actually, that was somewhere else. And we did go and camp and swim. But we stopped here and had a look at this. A date palm overstory, what I now understand is a food forest. And I've returned here quite a few times. And I found out from the local people it could be over 2,000 years old. Now that's something very sustainable because it returns enormous amounts of organic matter to the soil. It shelters the productive system with its own shade. It manages its own organic matter. Now this system is actually under a bit of threat right now because they are extracting gravel out of the river here that they're crushing and adding to roads locally. And it's changed the hydrology, but a system that's 2,000 years old is pretty resilient. Now it's fed from a water channel upstream, up in the valley, that was traditionally maintained to gravity flood into the system. So it has a water system, but it's a very basic one. And this is a very interesting system. And although it's reasonably short term, I have some heritage here too. So we're going to go for another walk around and have a look because it's something very interesting that applies to dry lands. From right out here in North Africa on the west coast, all the way through the Middle East to Central Asia, wherever traditional date palms are grown, they become the ideal canopy over a dryland food forest. And we can put food forests up anywhere, but this is the classic date palm dryland system. There's a small grain crop in the food forest. Here's a crop of sweet corn with date palm fronds made up as the fence. Beans and sweet corn under olives and dates. Pomegranate, grape and date palm all together. Here we have carob, and there's some giant carobs throughout the system. Of course, also under date palm. Fig trees are also right the way through the system. This one's reaching up between olives. It's starting to fruit. Olives are everywhere through the system. One of the hardy tree anchors. And then also...
I could keep on going, but you get the point. See, I think society has made us dumber. We've been robbed of so much. Here we think we've got it great. And yes, we have it great for technology and we have it great for, information or whatever. But the system doesn't want us to have this information. And this is biblical. All of this old art is what we've worked very hard to revive. Because everything we've done has been institutionalized and designed to kill our lands and not feed us. So with that said, I'm going to give you a few things, and I just want you to think about this. When it comes to dirt or comes to gardening, right? And what you can do or should do, right? Literally, I mean, we control this, folks. We control this, okay? When you get your hands, and that's why I started at the beginning of the program to basically say, heal your brain with dirt, not drugs. Here's what I need you to know. So the first thing that happens in your body, sorry, the earth has a negative charge. Now, I know you're probably thinking, no shit. Well, it's right. The earth has a negative charge. And it's very rich in what's called free electrons. The atmosphere is the positive charge. Okay? Now, in your body right now, when you get too much of a positive charge in your body, this builds up to what's called the metabolic process, just eating and stuff. So, but that is the positive charge is the thing in your body that is inflammation and stress, especially from exposure to electronics. Okay? Yeah, the trons. You're right. So this is absolute scientific fact, 100% scientific fact of how this stuff affects every one of us. It is just scientific fact. Okay? Now, when you understand this, okay, what happens is when your body gets too much of this positive charge, which you will know it as being called free radicals. These free radicals running around in your body make you swell, make you bloated, right? Give you stress. And the biggest dose we have right now is from all the electronics we use. Doing this right now is charging that up. Now, the bare skin, only the bare skin. This is why I tell you, get your hands and your feet in the soil. Fucking get naked, lay in the soil, folks. Get your bare skin to the soil as much as you can. What happens is the electrons flow through your body, from the earth through your body, okay? And what happens is it collides. So now you have the negative charge and the positive charge, and these things collide. And what it does is it neutralizes the excess free radicals you have in your body. So the first thing you're going to be doing is you're going to be getting rid of all the stuff that, as much as you can, all the stuff that is harming you, like inflammation, stress, exposure to electronics. This is why people get so many benefits from this. Now, what happens is when your body can neutralize all of those additional free radicals. And by the way, this is all peer reviewed. This is all just science, okay? It's going to reduce your inflammation. It's going to lower your stress hormone. That's called cortisol. It's going to lower the cortisol in your body, which people take drugs for it to have happen. It's going to improve your sleep. It's actually going to regulate your circadian rhythm. Everything operates on Earth in a circadian rhythm. So it's going to adjust that rhythm that's gotten out of whack. Okay. And then what happens is your own autonomic nervous system that controls everything resets itself. It balances yourself out. Now, as far as the microbes, I saw somebody said, be careful of bacteria. Okay. The soil, as it is, contains trillions of beneficial microbes. What these things actually do, right? And just think about it. How happy were you when you were a kid? Or you watch a kid, your kids, your grandbabies playing in the fucking mud, and just how happy they are. That's the balance of the system working. So what happens is in the ground, we have this thing called Microbacterium vaccaceae. Am I saying that right? Microbacterium vaccaceae. We'll just call it microbacterium. That one bacterium that is in the soul is totally harmless. It's a totally harmless bacteria. The moment you touch it and it hits your skin, it boosts your serotonin production. That's your mood enhancer. Then it begins to reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression. And then what it does is it does a very interesting thing. It kind of repumps, like charges, and resets your immune system by stimulating it. It trains your immune system to work right. Your immune system can get very out of whack. This particular bacteria, this is all peer-reviewed, all studied, can reset your sensitivity on the allergy level and your autoimmune resistance. Just getting in the dirt, period. Just getting in the dirt. It affects an incredible amount of your body. Your gut, the regulation of your gut health, your mood regulation, and your immune resilience. Now let's talk about the neurological or the psychological benefits of this. This is why I did this program. Heal your brain with dirt, not drugs. There are many reasons I came out with these books. I don't only want you self-sufficient and getting off the tit of the system. I want you to be able to control your destiny. And part of that destiny is your health is all part of it. Folks, this is why I did AHA, Make America Healthy Again, that AHA moment. All of these are part of the AHA moment. I just want you to understand how this works, why it works, why you need it, etc. Okay? So let's talk about the neurological. I showed you a video earlier. Neurological and physiological effects. Now, what happens is physical contact with nature. Hands-on, folks. Physical contact with nature turns back on something that got shut off. It's called your parasympathetic nervous system. Parasympathetic nervous system. What happens is this is primarily what gets disrupted in society for all of us. Our parasympathetic nervous system shuts down. There's only one thing that activates it naturally, and that's the soil. And here's what it's called. It's called the rest and digest syndrome. How many times are you in a rush? You eat. Well, my food didn't digest well. I'm stuffed. Well, it's called your rest and digest syndrome, and that's a lot of it has to do with your parasympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic, not parasitic, parasympathetic, right? Reduces your stress. Naturally, you can measure it almost instantly. Naturally brings down your blood pressure and regulate your heart rate. Think of the chemicals you're putting in your body right now to just deal with those things. Think about the system created drugs for you to deal with these things, and your body can do it. Your body can already do it. So when you get that parasympathetic nervous system firing, And that's going to help you reduce your stress. It's going to bring down your blood pressure. It's going to regulate your heart rate. And this is over and above exercise, right? This is just, it happens on its own. What happens is when you're in soil and in that natural landscape or creating that natural landscape, it releases endorphins from your brain. It restores cognitive restoration. And what you get is mental clarity and emotional grounding. You ever wonder why you took a break, went to the forest? Boom, here it's going. That is actually a physiological, a neurological effect of just being out there, period. Now, the soil itself can have power charges in it, especially after a natural rain or a thunderstorm. I told you this. It is really charged. This is, you ever remember when you were a kid and you stood out in the rain, right? When's the last time you intentionally stood out in the rain? When's the last time you stood out in the rain like you were a kid in the backyard, here comes the rain, and you're barefooted, right? When's the last time you did that? Think about it. Well, here's what happens. That rain and that thing has an incredible charge to it because, see, it's fallen from the upper atmosphere, right? Here it comes down. Those particular ions, separate to all others, have an additional unique effect. And what they do is they accelerate oxygen uptake. It's the oxygen uptake, which helps carry the trash out of your body, helps your blood rejuvenate, and helps the toxic metals in your brain that are rusting, it's a rusting process, carry it out of your system. It literally will carry it out of your system. So when you're out in the rain, it's literally being fed by God, extra oxygen uptake. It immediately resets your serotonin into a fact. It totally re-regulates your system where your serotonin has been crashed. And then what it does is it's going to start repairing and stabilizing free radical damage. See, one thing carries off free radicals. That's the ions that are there on the ground. This is the part where it actually, because of the oxygen and everything else, it accelerates and cleans where the free radicals damage. You don't want to just get them out. You got to repair the damage. That's why just getting out barefooted, damp grass or near a river or whatever feels so good. Think about it. How many times you just want to put your feet in the river and you think, I just want to put my feet in it. Some of the simple thing of it is, remember, you've probably heard of the science anyway of reflexology, right? Which works on your soles of your feet to get things going. Well, you're naturally engaging in a natural reflexology session because from your soles of your feet, which is made to sense things, and your hands, because it has really dense nerve endings. Right? You got really dense nerve endings in your hands and in your feet. Those acupressure points are connected to your internal organs. Because of the texture and the stimulation, what you are also doing, now remember, you've taken up oxygen, etc., all this other stuff. And that part of the process, this is why barefooted, hands and knees are so important. That improves your circulation. That signals the nerves to heal themselves. And by the way, women, ladies, it will regulate your hormones. And it's all because simple benefits. It's called electron transfer, microbial exposure, neurological stimulation, right? By using negative ions combined with reflex point stimulation. God made it work this way. Man fucked it up. That's the simple truth of the matter. God gave us everything to survive. Man felt it could create something better. And we're so creative now that we can cut off a pair of boobies on a young girl and she's instantly a chick, make her a penis out of her forearm, she's ready to go. Take that penis and just claim it's an ugly labia for a little boy and he's a girl. You got to understand what we've done to ourselves. We've done this shit to ourselves. Here's where you have to ask yourself if it's worth it. If you want to continue suffering in the system, fucking do it. You're an adult. You can make your own damn decision. This is so simple. So simple. And that's why so many people discount it. Right? That's why so many people discount it. All of this is within your control. You just have to relearn. So whether it's planting and planting a garden so it feeds your family forever, how would you like to plant something that 2,000 years from now is still feeding your family? Oh, I want to grow fruit trees, but it takes too long. You can hack that within months. I teach you how to do that. I hate digging and weeding. You don't have to do that either. And for those of you, I'm just going to remind you, have you gone to Maha Aha yet? When you realize that 96% of the shit we buy benefits foreign countries in a big way, we're trapped. You want to cut these strings? Nothing's stopping you, but think of how many of you can go there and, there's a reason not to do it. That's why I did Maha Aha, Make America Healthy Again, aha moment. I'll put a new video there in case you haven't watched it. Explains it real easy. The government's not going to do anything for us. There's no money in it. Money is not going to do anything for us. Politicians are not going to do anything for us. They're just trying to figure out how to pay for all that infrastructure. Get selfish. Get selfish about you and your family. I want you to consider setting yourself free. Do you think the system wants you to know you can heal your brain and your inflammation, all that, with dirt and not drugs? No, they don't. Rebel. Be ungovernable. Take care of your own destiny. I love you all. I used to think when I, did the full forensic audits in Arizona in 2020 and worked with President Trump and everything, I used to think I can change this stuff and I can make a difference. The real change comes within us when we decide to do something. Although President Trump's great, the real change comes from when we don't worry about the politicians. We make our best to make sure we can get the best ones in. But we get freaking selfish about ourselves, our kids, our family, our grandbabies. That's where you make a difference. I love you all. Please share this program. And thank you for supporting my work. Take care. Bye-bye.
This crazy world is telling you your sons can be daughters and your daughters can be your sons. When will the madness stop? Never. So you have to decide, will you comply or defy? They tell us all, you will own nothing, eat bugs, and be happy. Is this why America's largest food processing plants and food supply plants keep burning down? Do you really think this is a coincidence? Of course not. The system is telling us right to our faces what they have planned for us. You have a choice. Comply or simply defy their plan for us all. Defy the system's plan and execute your own plan. Abundant, safe, secure natural food supply. Introducing the Food Forest Bible. This bestseller by Jovan Hutton Pulitzer is the single most complete, executable, easy-to-follow plan for sustainable, self-managing food production for self-sufficiency and food security. For the first time ever, a coffee table, heirloom quality full color book which unlocks the ancient secrets of creating a food forest. Imagine planting in a way which requires no digging, no pesticides, and creates massive ancient food abundance. No fooling. Food forests are the ancient secret to planning and planting once. And have your own Garden of Eden, which will feed your families for decade after decade. Buck the system. Buck the New World Order and order your very own copy of Jovan Hutton Pulitzer's Food Forest Bible. Learn how to create a sustainable, self-managing, natural food production for self-sufficiency and food security for your family. Side yard, small yard, backyard, backlot, or even lots of acres, the Food Forest Bible works for everyone. Order on Amazon, hardcover, softcover, or ebook. Don't comply. Expertly defy the system.